Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. Really not an update, it's an update from Dave Palumbo because a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on with your medical condition. And I was waiting for the pathology report to come back from my surgery that took place 2 weeks ago. By the way, I feel really well. And you can see I have my little scar there, but it's not too bad. This should fade with time. All scars fade with time. Even the stretch marks I got from 1992 faded. So that's good. I feel good. I haven't really felt bad at all the whole time. I felt a little sore. Nothing that a Tylenol didn't fix for the first couple days. And so the surgery was kind of easy, I guess you could say, in that sense. Not that anyone wants to go through a surgery, but it was pretty easy. I'm on thyroid replacement now. I take my Synthroid, or I think I take a generic T4 every morning, 137 micrograms. You got to wait kind of 3 weeks to do blood work first, and because what happens is, I guess in your body, your natural thyroid gland will produce something called thyroglobulin. And if any of you guys have ever gone for like an autoantibody test to see if you have antibodies against your thyroid, they'll check for the thyroglobulin antibodies. So if your body is producing antibodies against your thyroid gland, that's how you can determine that. But the thyroglobulin is a way to determine if there's output of thyroid in your body. So I'm taking a synthetic thyroid now. That doesn't produce thyroglobulin. So in 3 weeks, when they test me, if my thyroglobulin is still not zero, it's still higher than it should be, then that would indicate that there are still cells, possibly cancer cells, that are producing somewhere else in my body, not on my thyroid gland, because they removed that, producing this thyroglobulin. And that's, if it's zero and it's almost nothing, then we know pretty much we got everything. Either way, I'm going to probably have to take some radioactive iodine. But let's get back just to the pathology report. So when they went in there, and they originally took half my thyroid out, and they took one node out that was right under the thyroid, and they sent it for pathology while I was actually in the surgery. It came back that it was positive. It had a couple cells in it, the papillary cancer cells. So when they saw that, he knew he had to go in and take out the rest of the gland. So they took the whole gland out because he knew they were going to be treating me with radioactive iodine. And if they're going to do that, you can't have any thyroid gland in your body. So they took the whole gland out. They took out 23 lymph nodes that were like right in this little vicinity, this little chain, and they tested them all. And that's what the pathology report was. Now, I knew that there was going to be a couple of them were going to come up positive because one came up positive. So a couple of the really local ones that were close to the one that they had removed came up positive. So I got 5 out of 23 lymph nodes they tested were positive in this vicinity here, which they kind of expected to see. Obviously, the cancer that was in there, while it's very, very small and contained within my gland, and it wasn't even touching any of the margins, so it wasn't touching my trachea or any other structures, which is good. It was still shedding cancer cells. So it probably was in there, it probably could have been in there a few years, even though it stayed small. Maybe my immune system kept it localized, I don't know, but obviously the lymph nodes were picking up some of these cells that were shedding off of the cancer, the tumor that was in there, even though it was small. Now, because of that, they will treat me with what's called radioactive iodine. A radioactive iodine, because it's iodine-based, is only taken up by thyroid cells, and including thyroid cancer cells, which is great. So it's like a smart, targeted treatment. So they removed my thyroid. Probably once they check my levels, they'll know if I have low thyroglobulin, it means I probably don't have any, or maybe 1 or 2 cancer cells floating around. If it comes back a little higher, then that means I do have some residual tissue somewhere in the body, and that will determine the dose of radioactive iodine they give me. They'll give me 2 days prior to the radioactive iodine, they'll give me a shot of thyroid stimulating hormone. And what that does is that tells whatever cells are remaining, take up iodine. So it basically, it kind of tricks the cells into taking up the radioactive iodine that they're going to give me 3 days after those 2 shots in succession. On the 3rd day, they give me the radioactive iodine, and then I have to kind of isolate myself. I have to stay in a hotel room. I can't be around kids or pets or anything like that because I'm radioactive, and that radioactivity can damage young kids or pets thyroid glands, so I can't be around anyone. So I get a 2-day vacation in a hotel room where I could just do work all day and do nothing else and order in food. And what'll happen is the radioactive iodine will be taken up by any tissues in my body that still are thyroid related, whether it be thyroid cancer or just regular thyroid cells that might be floating around someplace, and it will destroy those cells only. And then what they'll do is they'll scan my body, and they can actually do a scan for and anything that lights up radioactive wise. Let's say in my foot I get a radioactive beacon lighting up there. That means there could have been a cancer cell in my foot. And down by which is unlikely, but what I'm saying is they'll be able to find if where the cells had traveled to, if at all, beyond the thyroid, and they'll know exactly if there's like if they see a clump of cells, then there might be some kind of a distant tumor. Hopefully that's not the case. It's probably unlikely, but they'll see exactly where everything is, and that radioactive iodine will have once again destroyed any rogue cells that got out. Once that is complete, hopefully that will be the end of everything, and then they could, I'll probably go for routine scans after that, but pretty much, that's the end of the story. I hope. This is the plan. This is what they're telling me. I'm talking to my my surgeon on Monday, and then my endocrinologist friend Lenny will send me for blood work next week, and then I'll know more. So that's the update pretty much. The good news is I feel really good. I don't feel any different than I did before the surgery. My energy levels are good. Probably in the next couple of weeks, once I get my thyroid levels checked, I'll see if they dosed me correctly. If they need to bump it up a little bit, they'll bump it up. I don't feel like tired or anything like that, but you never know, because it could take a couple of weeks after they remove your thyroid for you actually to feel the ramifications of the lower thyroid output. If my body is not utilizing the T4 that I'm taking and turning it into T3 adequately, I would see that too, and that's why blood work is important. So that's the update on me, and thank you once again for all the support and all the great messages you guys have been sending me, and believe me, it helps. Even though you might just say, Dave, I'm thinking about you, it definitely helps, and thank you so much. So obviously I can't get back to everyone, and that's why I'm giving you guys a generalized thank you so much, and it means the world to me when people say prayers for me and put out the good energy out there, and it definitely heals us. Not only me, but my family as well. So thank you guys for that. I'm Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle News Update.